The deep ocean. It's the last true frontier on our own planet. A place less explored than the surface of the moon. We look out at its vast, shimmering expanse and see beauty, opportunity, and the promise of adventure. But for those who have spent their lives on the water, there's another side to it. A darker, more unsettling side. It holds secrets in its crushing depths, secrets it has no intention of ever giving up. These are the stories that give sailors pause, the legends passed down in hushed tones in waterfront bars from Cape Town to Shanghai. We're talking about specific coordinates on the map, patches of water that seem to have a malevolent will of their own. These are the ocean's graveyards. They are watery tombs that have been collecting wreckage and souls for centuries. It's a journey into the heart of maritime mystery, where every wave could be hiding a wreck and every shadow could be a ghost. Let's start with the headliner, the one everyone knows. The Bermuda Triangle. This infamous stretch of the Atlantic Ocean has captured the public imagination like no other maritime mystery. For decades, it has been blamed for swallowing ships and aircraft whole, leaving behind no wreckage, no oil slicks, no survivors, just silence. Even Christopher Columbus, on his first voyage to the New World, reported strange phenomena here. He wrote in his log about a great flame of fire crashing into the sea. The USS Cyclops, a massive Navy cargo ship carrying over 10,000 tons of manganese and 306 crew, vanished without a trace in 1918. The sheer variety of vessels claimed by the Triangle is what makes it so unsettling. We're talking modern cargo freighters, private yachts, and even military aircraft. Each case is a puzzle with missing pieces, a story without an ending. Some scientists point to the region's unique and violent weather patterns, like unpredictable hurricanes and rogue waves that can reach heights of 100 feet. Others suggest massive releases of methane gas from the ocean floor, creating a frothy, less dense water that could swallow a ship in seconds. Of all the tales from the Bermuda Triangle, none is more chilling or more famous than the disappearance of Flight 19. On the afternoon of December 5, 1945, these 5 aircraft took off for a routine training mission. It was a clear day. The planes were in perfect working order. They were seasoned pilots flying some of the most reliable aircraft of their time. The flight leader, Lieutenant Charles Taylor, became disoriented. His voice, crackling over the radio, grew increasingly agitated. He reported that both of his compasses were malfunctioning. Control tower operators listened in horror as the pilots debated their position. The confusion was palpable, a creeping dread that spread from one pilot to another. As the weather worsened and the sea below grew dark and angry, one of the pilots was heard saying, "Everything is wrong. Strange. The ocean doesn't look as it should." The final garbled message suggested they were running low on fuel and would have to ditch their planes in the water. Then, there was only silence. A Martin Mariner flying boat was dispatched to search for the missing squadron. It carried a crew of 13 men. 20 minutes after takeoff, it too vanished from radar. The search turned up absolutely nothing. Not a single piece of wreckage, no life rafts, no oil slick, no sign of the 27 men who had disappeared. It was as if they had been erased from existence. Halfway around the world from Bermuda, there is another patch of ocean with an equally sinister reputation. Sailors in the Pacific call it the Mono Umi, the Sea of the Devil. For centuries, Japanese fishermen have told stories of this treacherous region, a place where demons and dragons were said to rise from the depths to drag ships and their crews to a watery grave. Between 1952 and 1954, 5 Japanese military vessels disappeared in the Dragon's Triangle, taking with them a total of over 700 sailors. The Japanese government funded a research vessel, the Kaiomaru No. 5, to investigate the disappearances. The ship, crewed by 31 scientists and researchers, sailed into the heart of the mystery. The Kaiomaru No. 5 sent back its data, but then, like the ships it was investigating, it vanished without a trace. The very ship sent to solve the mystery had become its most famous victim. It lies on the Pacific Ring of Fire, with underwater volcanoes and seismic vents that can violently and suddenly alter the sea state. Imagine, if you will, a coastline so forbidding that its name alone is a warning. Welcome to the skeleton coast of Namibia. This is where one of the world's oldest and driest deserts, the Namib, crashes directly into the cold, violent currents of the Atlantic Ocean. The dense, persistent fog, fueled by the cold Benguela Current meeting the hot desert air, can reduce visibility to zero in an instant. The shoreline is littered with the bleached bones of whales and seals, alongside the rusting skeletal remains of countless shipwrecks. Walk along the beach and you can find the remains of everything from 15th century Portuguese caravels to modern cargo ships. Once ashore, they faced a landscape with no fresh water, no food, and no shelter. The endless dunes of the Namib Desert stretch for hundreds of miles inland. Even today, with modern navigation and technology, the Skeleton Coast remains one of the world's most hazardous coastlines. The ghosts are the wrecks themselves. They are a constant, physical reminder of the ocean's power and the land's indifference. Before the Panama Canal offered a shortcut, any ship wanting to travel between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans had to face a trial by fire. They had to round Cape Horn. Located at the southernmost tip of South America, this rocky headland is a legend in the world of sailing, a place synonymous with suffering and death. The waves here are legendary, often reaching heights of over 100 feet, monstrous moving mountains of water called graybeards. Fierce westerly winds known as the Roaring Forties and Furious Fifties create hurricane-force gusts that can appear with little warning. The human cost of conquering the Horn is staggering. It is estimated that over 800 ships have been wrecked and more than 10,000 lives have been lost. One of the most famous legends is that of the Flying Dutchman, the ghostly galleon doomed to sail these waters for eternity. Even with the Panama Canal, Cape Horn hasn't lost its teeth. It remains a perilous challenge for recreational sailors. An old maritime tradition says that a sailor who has successfully rounded the Horn earns the right to wear a gold hoop earring and to place one foot on the table in any tavern. You might think that the world's most dangerous ocean graveyards are all in saltwater, but you'd be wrong. There is a freshwater sea in the heart of North America that is just as deadly, Lake Superior. Its sheer size allows it to generate ocean-like waves, and its northern latitude means it is prone to sudden, violent storms known as witches. The most famous and haunting of these is the wreck of the SS Edmund Fitzgerald. On November 10, 1975, this massive 729-foot ore freighter was caught in a brutal November storm. The gales of November are legendary on the lakes, and this one was a monster, with winds over 90 miles per hour and waves reaching 35 feet. When asked by a nearby ship how they were doing, Captain Ernest McSorley calmly replied, "We are holding our own." Minutes later, the ship vanished. When the wreck was finally located, it was found in two pieces on the lakebed, 530 feet below the surface. The incident was immortalized in Gordon Lightfoot's haunting ballad, The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, which turned the tragedy into a modern North American folk legend. The lake's icy, fresh water preserves shipwrecks in a state of eerie perfection, with some looking as if they could sail away at any moment. So why do these places continue to hold such a powerful grip on our imagination? In an age of GPS, satellite weather forecasting, and advanced naval engineering, you'd think these ocean graveyards would be stripped of their mystery. This enduring dread comes from a fundamental truth. Despite all our technology, we have not tamed the ocean. The stories of ghost ships and paranormal events are a way for us to try and make sense of the senseless. When a ship vanishes without a trace, it leaves a void that logic cannot easily fill. We are drawn to the edges of the map, to the places marked, "Here be dragons." We want to shine a light into the darkness and find answers, but the ocean does not give up its secrets easily. The immense pressure, the darkness, and the sheer scale of the deep make recovery and investigation incredibly difficult. The wrecks may lie on the bottom forever, their stories locked away in a tomb of crushing silence. These haunted graveyards serve as a potent reminder of our own limitations. They are geographical monuments to humility. They remind us that out there, in the deep, dark, cold, the greatest adventure of all is still waiting to be discovered, and that is a mystery worth exploring.